What's up, everyone? What's going on? Welcome to another episode or video over on What the Fright. Um, I know I haven't uploaded in a while. My PC was actually got damaged in a recent power outage, and so I'm have to get that fixed. And our second episode ever was gonna be on Happy Death Day. Because in honor of my co-host, my wife's birthday, we have seen the movie. Well, I mean, we've seen it before. We watched the movie. We got notes and everything. We just gotta really just record and upload it now. I'm recording from a spare MacBook that my wife had until I get my PC fixed. So if the quality isn't the best, working with what we got right now, and I'm in a different spot. I'm not in my office because my office is kind of a mess because I have my PC taken apart and everything like that. I have stuff laying around in there, so it's kind of a little bit of a mess. So I'm in a different spot. I'm in the living room, so if the sound is a little off, I apologize. It's just what we are working with. But today, in today's video, I hope that people enjoyed me ranking all the Halloween movies. The video is still out there for people to see, or for you to see, I mean. And today is a doozy. It's a special one. Mount Rushmore syndrome type a deal with one of the movies specifically, and then one of the movies that you can just sit back and have fun. And if you hate it, you hate it. I mean, that's just on you, but I feel like you're just jumping on a bandwagon to hate. And today we are talking about the Scream franchise. Yes, the Scream franchise, one of the holy grails of horror, just because of what it brought to the table, what the first ever Scream did for the genre. And then you had 2, and then Scooby-Doo 3. I'll get into that whenever we rank that one. You had Scream, you had Scream 2, you had Scream 3, you had Scream 4, which didn't really get a lot of love till here recently. It was kind of really hated when it came out. Then you had Scream, Scream 5 Cream, whatever you want to call it, and then you had Scream 6. And whenever I get into the ranking of Scream 5 and Scream 6, specifically Scream 6, I will touch on real quick about my thoughts on what they're doing with Scream 7, or I may do that at the end of the video, but I do think that it's just my personal opinion on the way the things are going with Scream 7. I do think it's totally wrong, and just because I wanted to see what the Sam Carpenter character, what her third movie was going to be, because honestly I think that she was going to be the killer in the 7th Scream movie, and it was going to be, I'm not going to say like weird or anything, but it was going to be, I think I see it as of her being, not knowing she's doing it, but knowing she's doing it, if you catch what I mean. And then maybe even Stu actually coming back. They bring that back. I could, honestly, I might just make a whole video on my thoughts on what Scream 7 should be. Maybe I even do that for like some other movies where what I think this movie should have been. Like, say I could make a video on Halloween Ends and I could put my spin on it, how I think that story should have been, or maybe even jump into some other movies and stuff like that, because I have some thoughts on how some movies should have went or whatever. I mean, we all do. But without further ado, let's get into the first movie on this ranking. We are going from worst to best. Okay, so on the first movie on this list, I know this is going to a lot of people love Scream 3, believe it or not. The 3 is a little backwards on there, but it's all good. Because just because I'm working with, if I was on my PC this time around on this video, I was going to put like the trailer in the background, let it loop, but it's hard to do that with just a singular screen unless I'm doing something wrong. Maybe you can let me know, but it's just a little harder to do it on just the single screen versus what I could do all over on my PC. And I wish I would have did that with the Halloween video, but we're working with what we got. So Scream 3. Well, we got 6 Scream movies to talk about, and Scream 3 is at the bottom of my list. I don't think it's a bad movie. And I apologize if I'm like really loud. I feel like in my last video I was kind of like low, but we'll see whenever I do edit and everything. But Scream 3, people. It's not a bad movie, but one of the podcasts I listened to, I'll shout them out. I think I shouted them last time. The horror show. I listen to them like constantly, and you can find them on Spotify and everything. Whatever, go check them out. I love them. But they called this Scooby Doo, and I love that because it's kind of true. Just because everything, this movie is all funny and everything, but this movie could have been better if they would have went, in my opinion, if they would have went with the original idea that Cotton survived at the beginning of the movie. Because there is an idea, or it was maybe filmed, that Cotton survived at the beginning of this movie and played a key role in this story. And I think that would have been great. Like, have Cotton make it till the end, you know? Because each Scream movie is different. The way the openings are, like, if Cotton would have survived, I feel like they kind of took that idea in Scream 5, like how Jenny Ortega's character survived, but that had to be done. And, sorry, I had a little bit of technical difficulties. I had to make sure that my mic was recording. But, excuse me. But yeah, anyways, Scream 3 is not a bad movie. It's actually, it's a good movie for you to just sit back and, but it's definitely the lowest on the list. If you check it out, and I know a lot of people love this movie, and I know I'm not mad if you love this movie. I just think I don't see. Okay, so Roman is our killer, right? Roman's main objective was to just, fuck shit up, right? He gave information to Billy and everything about his dad and Sydney's mother, Maureen. But just the way they did everything, I get they wanted to incorporate Hollywood and everything to it. It could have been done better if basically in the movie they're doing a Return to Woodsboro. It's like Stab 3, Return to Woodsboro. Why didn't we do a thing like that where Scream 3 is a return to Woodsboro and maybe Roman's there? And I don't know. This movie is a jumbled mess. Let's be honest. It is a jumbled mess, but it's not a terrible movie. But I could make a whole video just on this movie by itself. But there's a lot of background drama and everything that happened in this movie is wild. Okay, so the next movie that we are going to be talking about, so I didn't really go into a bunch of details on Scream 3, but I don't want this video to be almost an hour long like the last video. I mean, if it is, it is. But the next movie we're talking about, it's a very Scream 2 and Scream 3. Yes, I guess I already spoiled it. Spoilers, the next movie is Scream 2, but Scream 2 and Scream 3 fall into a category where people will come at you with pitchforks if you shit on these movies. And I'm sorry to say, but Scream 2 is next on my list. I have Scream 2 at number 5 just because when you really look at it, why... I get what they were doing and everything, and I'm fine with the whole plot and everything with Billy's mom being the killer. That's a fine plot. That's a fine motive. She actually has a good motive, but she found Mickey like on a psycho dating website or something like that. No, I wouldn't say dating website, but she found him like on a psycho killer's website type thing. And if you really think about it, Mickey was doing all the killing. And then what's her, Laurie Metcalf? What's her character's? Stu's mom. I can't think of her name for some reason. I'm like blanking on her name. But anyways, not Stu's mom, Billy's mom. I apologize. Billy's mom she, what'd you call her? Mrs. Loomis. Yeah, Mrs. Loomis. Uh, she's fine being the character. Her motivation and motive is actually better than Mickey's. Mickey's is kind of just like, yeah, his motive was gonna be like, yeah, the movies made me do it, which honestly is a fine motive. I don't know how too well that would go in courts, but it's not the worst thing that I've ever heard. But why, again, why was Roman not involved in Scream 2, right? Apparently, there was at the end of Scream 2, like it was gonna show like a bell tower, and like there was gonna be a third Scream or a third Ghostface watching from the bell tower, which could have been Roman. And then also in Scream 1, while Billy and Stu are like fucking with Randy, there's a Ghostface in the store, in the grocery store where Sydney and Rose McGowan's character, I can't think of her name for some reason, I'm blanking on her name, where they were in the store. Was that Roman? Was Roman there all along? But like, why was he not involved then? You know, there's a million plot holes in Scream movies, but we should have to look past that because this is a great franchise. Okay, this is an amazing franchise. But yeah, Scream 2 being in college is cool and all. I think the worst part, I'm fine with the whole movie. The worst part, in my opinion, in this movie is when Randy's character, Jamie Kennedy's character, gets killed, and you don't even see it. Why didn't Randy survive at least till the end of the movie and have like a brutal death scene? Like, why? And I know in Scream 3, I think they talked about trying to bring him back and everything, saying like he survived, which that would have been great instead of Randy coming back on a video. But that is a very Randy thing for him to do, to have a video of like if he's dead, like, hey, show this to these people, you know. But Randy should have lived in this movie, and because you bring back basically the whole cast every movie, so why not? That's my biggest gripe with Scream 2 is why was Randy killed? Randy is your movie genius, your movie guy. Like in Scream 2, besides him and Mickey, like he's really the only one holding the whole movie thing together in Scream 2. And then back to Scream 3 real quick. Scream 3 is just a movie inside of Hollywood type of mungo jungo. And that's all fine and dandy. But we have to get to our next movie. If you're watching this video and if you want to like see me like rank, or not rank, but like go into a particular movie, it doesn't even have to be a Scream movie, like any horror movie, as long as I've seen it, I can go into like an in-depth, like not talk about like scene by scene, because that's for the podcasting, you know. WTF, what the fright over on Spotify. Still only have one episode though, but that's just because things happen. We haven't been able to record our second episode like we wanted to, but we do have the notes and everything. We might just watch a movie again to refresh ourselves. But we still do have the notes, and we'll break that movie down, dissect it, slice and dice it, you know. But anyways, our next movie on this list, I love this movie. I really do. When it came out, certain scene in this movie, I was just like, I love this movie. And then a certain scene in this movie, I turned to my wife when we were seeing it. I was like, I hate this movie. And then at the end again, I was like, I love this movie. It's a great movie. Certain characters in here, there's a couple characters in here that I do not believe should have been in the movie at all. Just my personal opinion and how I feel on that. I think that at least two characters in the movie, maybe even just one, could have just, just been the phone call or whatever. And that movie is Scream 5 Cream, or just Scream, whatever you want to call it. I feel like they should have went. Just let me get to the title real quick. I know that the original titles for like Scream 2 were like Scream Again, Scream Louder. I feel like it might have been a little dumb, but I feel like Scream 5 should have been called Scream Again, or Like that's just my preference. I know it sounds stupid, but it kind of would have made sense. Like Scream and Scream 5 are kind of like in a way same-ish kind of thing. Just it goes back to Stu's house. So why not Scream again? You know? I know. Anyways, I love Scream 5. I don't really have anything bad to say about Scream 5. Like, I know a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people loved it. Like, the introduction of the characters in this movie, Mindy Meeks and Chad Meeks, like Jeannie Ortega's character, Tara. And then you have Sam. I love the Sam character. I'm fine with Billy coming back as, as like a dark, like, just like a figment of Sam's imagination. It works a lot better in Scream 6 versus Scream 5, just because Scream 5 kind of doesn't make it the way that it was I feel like it was kind of rushed and just thrown in there, but it does make sense in a way if you just really sit back and just watch it. And like, I know sometimes you have people put a critique's eye on this type of stuff and just like, yeah, this sucks. Be like, but why? Like, it is a great movie. I take that back. It's a good movie. And the kills in here are really good, and it's, in my opinion, I do love all the characters in the movie. I love the kills. The opening, Jeannie Ortega's character, Tara, she does not get killed. She just gets brutally attacked. And, like, Dewey being in this movie, I feel like Dewey was the only one who really should have been in this movie. Like, I get why, what's her name? Gail is in this movie. But Sydney did not need to be in this movie. I'm sorry. Like, I know some people wanted her in this movie, and some people say that she's the reason it's in here, or some people saying like she should have had more. No. Like, if she was going to be in this movie, she should have been in it from the start. It should have been... but I get it's the legacy characters. They bring them in, safety blanket type of thing. But I feel like if you're going to kill off legacy characters, Dewey, Gail, Sydney, okay, so it makes sense for, Sydney's always been our final girl. Why? Okay, killing off Dewey, I hate it. That's what I was talking about earlier. Like, when they killed Dewey, that really like fucked me up, because I love Dewey in these movies. I feel like David Arquette, in all the 5 that he's in, he did a great job, I feel like. But I do feel like maybe it should have been like, what I would have loved to see Dewey in Scream 6. It wouldn't have made any sense. But let's be real, a bunch, like I said, plot holes in these movies don't make sense. But I feel like Gail should have got killed too in this movie, just because, I don't know, like, especially going into like a new like trilogy basically type of thing. Like, let's get away from these legacy characters, I say that, and then there's a legacy character that comes from Scream 4, Hayden Panettiere's character that is in Scream 6. But anyways, I call her a legacy character because I love Hayden Panettiere, and she made a return, and she actually makes a return in this movie but Scream 5 is a great movie. I love the kills and everything in here, and I love the Sam character. I know a lot of people don't like her, but I do love the Sam character, and I honestly think that she's one of the main reasons why I really like this movie, just because like her character is very mysterious in this movie, and you're trying to figure out like what the hell is like going on and everything. But if you hate this movie, I understand. If you love this movie, I understand. There's a lot of fan service in this movie, and it's just really great. I said it's really good. This next movie on our list, I know is obviously one of the movies that a lot of people didn't like, and then it's one of the movies that kind of like came back around. That usually happens with certain movies, and that is none other than one of my favorites. I did have it at number 2, but when a certain movie came out, It dropped to number 3. That is, where am I at? Hold on. Sorry, I was missing on the screen. That is Scream 4. I love Scream 4. Like, in my opinion, Scream 4, before 5 and 6, Scream 4 is, I wouldn't say on par with Scream, the first Scream. But it's definitely, if you really watch it and you think about it, Scream 4, the tone, the kills, the way Ghostface acts and is in this movie is a lot more resembling of Scream 1 versus Scream 2 and 3, in my opinion. Scream 4 is a great sequel, and, it's really great. And it's one of the movies that did come back around for some people, a lot of people actually, and they're like, why did we shit on this? It's pretty good. Dewey being the sheriff. Dewey and Gail actually married, but actually divorced in real life. It's that's a can of worms. Hayden Panettiere's character, Kirby. I love Hayden Panettiere. I love Kirby in this movie. She was our new Randy in this movie. I say that, but I mean, yes, technically she is in a way. And before Scream 5 and Scream 6 came out, she should have, there was an alternate ending in this movie where, there's so much stuff you could go into these movies. You can just really just look up this stuff. But, like, supposedly we didn't know. We thought Hayden Panettiere, we thought Kirby was dead in this movie when she goes out Charlie. And then Charlie stabs her. Like, what? Like, Charlie, what are you doing? Like, this girl was ready to give it to you. And you were like, yeah, no. Like, anyways. Kirby is great in this movie. And then you have Trevor and a great red herring. And like Scream 4, I feel like in Scream 2 and Scream 3 it got more of to just like them wanting to make a movie instead of caring about characters in the movie. In Scream 4 you care about certain people in this movie. Like when Kirby got killed or whatever, you're like, bro, like what? And then Trevor was just always there. You don't really care about Trevor. Charlie seemed cool until it was revealed that he was a character. Then you got Emma Roberts' character, I cannot think of her name, Jill. It turns out she was a character, but her motive, she wanted to become Sydney. She wanted the fame, the press. What's crazy is that kind of shit happens today in the real world. Like, there's certain people that are out there, like, there's all kinds of sick people in this world, and that is a crazy motive that could actually be real, and her plan, what she does, the way she sets up things, but she ultimately does fall short because she lets it slip on what she did to Gail, basically, with her matching wounds. But this, if you have not seen Scream 4 in a while, just go back and watch Scream 4. You may still feel the same if you hate it or whatever, but I honestly feel like if you go back and watch Scream 4, you're gonna love it. I feel like you're gonna have a great time. Just it's an amazing movie, and I'm not gonna go into much about it, but Scream 4 is number 3 on our list, and I highly recommend Scream 4 to the entire Scream fandom. So there's been 2 movies on this list that have not been shown. That is Scream 1 and Scream 6. But where do I have them? My top two. Obviously, one of these is Mount Rushmore, right? Like, if you had to pick one, it is a genre-defining movie, and it changed the game. But there's one that you can just sit back, have so much fucking fun with. It is crazy of how much fun you can have with a movie. You turn that brain off and just sit back and you're like, yes. That would be none other than Scream 6. I know a lot of people didn't, there's actually Scream 6 was well received. I know there was, when it first came out, like, I just love the aggression of this Ghostface in this movie. The aggression in this movie. I do hate that my girl in the opening scene, Samara Weaving, she was the opening kill, and basically it wasn't even the actual killer of the movie that kills her, but it was cool. That was a great twist. As you're like, what the fuck, But her as the opening kill. I love Samara Weaving. She is. If you have not seen Ready or Not, go watch Ready or Not. She is amazing in Ready or Not. But this whole movie, like, I remember being in the theater from start to finish, like, I just had a grin on my face. Besides, like, when some of the kills are pretty gory, I had a grin on my face because I was just like, yes. Like, I enjoyed the movie so much. And then, like, the bodega scene with Ghostface wielding a shotgun, like, thank you. Ghostface is different. He's a different person every movie. So why is each character not doing different stuff? Like, yeah, we got knives and stuff like that, but why? And then the ultimate twist of this movie is that there is 3 killers in this movie, which I'm fine with. But, the dad, the cop, is the main killer, obviously, because of how aggressive and how strong this Ghostface really is, in my opinion. This is, besides Billy and Stu, the Ghostface in this movie is my favorite Ghostface. I don't know if I'm going to say of all time, but of the series, besides Billy and Stu. This Ghostface is like, yes. And then Kirby's back in this movie. She's like an FBI agent or something, and I'm fine with that. I know some people are like, why? Like, that doesn't kind of make any sense, but oh well. Scream movies in general don't make sense. Like, why is there another one after the first one, Scream 1 is a beginning and ending movie. But Scream 6, I fucking love it. It is, if you go, just turn your, it's like the Fast and Furious movies now. Turn your brain off, watch it, you're going to have the greatest time of your life. If you're going to tear this movie apart, go tear all the other movies apart, because, there's a million plot holes in all the movies. And then, like, Chad and Tara, like, they were building a relationship with that. I'm going to talk real quick on Scream 6 and, the Sam character. I feel like they were going in a direction with her that it was going to ultimately lead in Scream 7, her being the killer, which I would have been fine with. Like, her maybe not knowing it, and then, like, in the end, like, twist, like, yeah, she knew what she was doing all along type of thing. Or, like, my theory in my head was, like, hey, Stu is actually still alive, and, like, Stu was going to be the killer. You bring back Gail, you bring back Sydney in the 7th one. Sydney was not in this movie. I think, yeah, she wasn't. It was just, I think it was just like a side thing. Like, yeah, she's safe and everything. But Gail was in this movie. It makes sense because Gail has a show in New York, and the movie takes place in New York. But, like, you bring them back, and then Stu's the killer, in the next one. And then, the way I see it is, Sydney and Sam are our last 2 characters, up against Stu. Like, go back to the singular Ghostface. If you didn't have Sam as the killer, have Stu as the killer. The singular Ghostface, like in Scream 3 with Roman. Stu is out for revenge, and then he found out Billy had a kid or whatever and everything like that. Like, why not? They come to blows, and then it's like, if you really think about it, the end of Scream 1, it was kind of like Billy versus Stu, because Billy was pissed and he was stabbing Stu way too much. Like, why would Stu not be pissed and be like, peer pressure of Billy, like, Stu versus Sam, and then, like, really it's like Billy versus Stu, because, like, Sam sees visions of Billy and everything. Like, I don't know, that's just the way I was picturing the movie going. Sydney gets killed. I mean, she could survive or whatever, but, like, I don't know. I feel like what they were leading up to with Sam, like, her aggression at the end of this movie does elevate. When she kills the cop, she stabs shit out of that man. And I just love this movie from beginning to end. I cannot speak enough on how much I love this movie. I love it. I absolutely do. And so without further ado, without further ado, you already know what is number one on this list if you watched the whole video. Number one is none other than the genre defining, game changing, bringing all the horror elements from other horror movies. One of the movies on a horror Mount Rushmore, in my opinion, and I know in a lot of people's opinion, is none other than Scream. The first ever Scream. This movie, right here. There is really not too much. It is almost a perfect movie. I would say damn near perfect. Like, it is really hard to say anything bad about this movie. But like I said, I think my only critique would be is if we viewed Scream 1 all the way to Scream 3 like basically as like a whole movie in a sense. There is a plot hole, like, was Roman there the whole time, you know? Was he there in Scream 2? Was he there in Scream 1? Because it would have made sense. But it also wouldn't have made sense. Because Scream 1, if you think about it, you watch it, it is a beginning movie and an ending movie. There never should have been a franchise made from this movie. But there was. And I'm fucking grateful. Because I love the fucking Scream movies. And I know my co-host, my wife, Scream is her favorite franchise. Horror franchise. I remember when I first tried to get her to watch Scream 1, I think it was when we were younger, like, I wouldn't say like about 9, almost 10 years ago, that I tried to get her to watch Scream, and we were at her grandparents' house, and like they had like a built-on room or whatever, and they had a lot of windows, and it was dark. It was pitch black dark in there, and I had this movie on, and she told me to turn it off, and we didn't even make it past the Drew Barrymore scene, and then eventually she watched it, she loved it, and then we watched the second one, the third one. I don't think she's too big of a fan of the fourth one, but I know she was cool with the fifth one. I know she liked the sixth one. Like, but this is definitely her favorite franchise. Like, she loves Ghostface. Loves Ghostface. Like, how much I love Michael Myers, I feel like that's how she feels about Ghostface. Because if we're being honest, if there was an actual killer, a lot of times in horror movies, like, Ghostface could easily be real. Because it could be anyone. Like, anyone could be calling you and everything like that. So, like, I can't really say too much about this movie unless, like, me and her did a episode, which I imagine we will, like, do, like, an episode on the podcast. But the way Scream is, the first Scream, it's just, there's, like, no negatives, in my opinion. It is a perfect movie. It is Mount Rushmore. It is on my horror Mount Rushmore for sure. And I just go watch Scream. Go watch Scream. Just go watch all of them, and then come back, put in the comments what you think of these movies. These movies are just straight up amazing. All right, so to go back over everything, over here in our corner, we got our rankings. Well, now it's best to worst. We got Scream 1, we got Scream 6, we got Scream 4, Scream 5, or Scream 2, and Scream 3. In my opinion, that's the best order. Everyone has their own order. I know a lot of people probably have Scream 3 and Scream 2 definitely up there. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that have Scream 2 as their favorite, or Scream 3. I've been in some Facebook Scream groups, where I basically was like, yeah, I got to get out of this group because, like, I cannot voice my own opinion. Like, we all have our own opinions and everything and our own takes, and that's fine. Horror movies are, especially if it's a franchise, like, and we rank them however we want. It's however we enjoy them, you know? If you hate my order, I'm cool with that, you know? If I like your order, I don't like your order, like, that's all cool. Like, we all have different opinions. But in my opinion, this is the best order, or maybe the most fun order, but I just can't put any of the other ones over Scream 1. If I had to, from a fun perspective, and just my perspective, or whatever, if I had to put one that was, like, that I could just sit down and just have a good ass time with, I'm going to pick Scream 6. But I'm not saying I'm putting Scream 6 over Scream 1. I'm just saying, like, I could just sit there and be like, yes, I love Scream 6. It's kind of like how I know a lot of people hate Halloween 2018, but I love Halloween 2018. Like, how I feel about that movie is kind of like how I feel about Scream 6. I have a good time every time I watch the movie. But I hope that you enjoy my rankings. If you don't, let me know. Like, you may hate them. I'm totally cool with that. I have no problem with you hating my ranking, or maybe just be like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I understand. Or loving it. Like, that's what it's not a debate. I mean, it's just an opinion. And I'm cool with your opinion. Like, if you had them in order from like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm cool with that. Like, I can understand. Honestly, in a way, I can understand any ranking in these movies. Now, the Halloween movies, I'm a little bit more biased. But the Scream movies, I get it. Whatever rankings you have. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. We are going to do our best to get our next episode, second episode, recorded. I have other movies already planned. You know, the year's going by. We got to get this recorded. Hopefully, I don't think we're doing anything this weekend. We were busy this past weekend and everything, and we will be. I'm going to see if we can sit down, record the Happy Death Day episode, and then maybe even get a third episode in by next week. Because once we get that episode our second episode recorded, I will get it dropped probably like that next day, and then that way the next week we can get another movie out. Because I do have plans for certain months. But I hope y'all have a great day. Again, hey, do me a favor, if you like the video, just subscribe, and then go follow us on Spotify. I know we only still have one episode out. It's just a big bunch of technical difficulties, life, everything like that. But I'm doing my best. I'm trying to get some content out there. Also, you can find me a gaming page, Majin Konako, over on YouTube. I stream. I'm trying to get back into it. Everything's just a whole bunch of things going on in life. You know, most people understand and know how it goes. So I hope y'all have a good one. I hope y'all have a great day. And if you're wrong in your rankings because they're not mine, well, screw it. No, I'm just kidding. I hope y'all have a good one. And thank y'all so much.